Sokore. Mandalorian isn't a race. It is a creed that all species follow who wish to call themselves Mandalorian. That's the fundamental aspect of the Mandalorian culture. The Mandalorian creed consists of three major aspects, of which most are Legends content. However, some of these points, in addition with new ones, were within the Mandalorian series, so the lines between what is considered to be legend and what canon is blurry and my takes may be or become inaccurate over time. Anyway, I will cover all of them, starting with the first one from an old Star Wars RPG book. The first one is the Canons of Honor. The Canons of Honor are a Mandalorian text of law and behavior. Those evolved from the ancient religious laws followed by the Tong society. The Tong were a humanoid species with a warrior culture, which later founded or rather transitioned into the Mandalorian culture. The Canons of Honor aimed at helping the ancient Mandalorian warriors to attain glory and personal honor. The content of the Canons of Honor are: strength is life, for the strong have the right to rule. Strength is the equivalent to life for a Mandalorian. Without strength, one is considered to be dead. The strong have the right to rule and conquer the weak. If an opponent fights back, then they are not to be seen as weak, even if they could not defeat the Mandalorians. The act of defending oneself instead of capitulation is looked upon as giving one both spiritual strength and honor. Honor is life, for with no honor one may as well be dead. A Mandalorian gains honor by fighting, no matter the odds or situation. Once engaged in battle, victory bestows honor. While defeat is not desirable, even fighting and losing brings honor to the defeated, for at least they acted and fought. It is considered more honorable to die fighting than to survive through dishonorable means. Loyalty is life, for without one's clan, one has no purpose. Equally important to honor is loyalty to one's clan. A Mandalorian is required to fight not only for the Mandalore, but also for his elite. If one's actions don't bring honor to his clan, then they have no place within the clan as a member or a Mandalorian. As a result, those become what Mandalorians call Da Manda. Da Manda is a state of not being Mandalorian. The person is not an outsider, but one who has lost his heritage and so his identity and his soul. Those are regarded with absolute dread by most traditional-minded Manduade. Death is life. One should die as they have lived. Death is another important part of the code. Everyone dies. But what matters to the Mandalorian warrior is how a person dies. Do they pass on with strength and honor, or some other way? The Canon of Honor, however, is derived from the resol'nare, the 6 actions, the tenets of Mandalorian life. The resol'nare is in fact the basis of the Mandalorian creed, and many reforms or extensions of the creed are based on it. Tradition dictates that anyone wishing to be considered Mandalorian has to abide by these guidelines and live these actions daily. Mandalorians whom did not follow the resol'nare are also considered to be Damanda, a rhyme containing the content of the resol'nare and helping young Mandalorian children and even foundlings, I presume, to learn the tenets of the resol'nare goes like this: Bashue, Beskagam, A Ra Novo, Ale, Mandua, Bal, Mandalo, A, Venjo, Jane, Me. As such, the tenets of the resol'nare are wearing armor, speaking the language Mandoa, defending yourself and your family, raising your children as Mandalorians, contributing to the clan's welfare, and when called upon by the Mandalore, rallying to his cause. We actually have seen most of these behaviors in the Mandalorian. The Djarin is wearing armor. I assume he also speaks the language, though this hasn't been shown explicitly. He constantly defends himself and Grogu. Also, he contributes to the clan's welfare by providing credits in exchange for his Beskar armor and even forsake an insignia after killing the Maton to fund foundlings. As such, I believe the resol'nare is part of canon. With the 2 current seasons of The Mandalorian, we also learn that additional rules have been added in order to be considered a Mandalorian. In fact, those are not removing the Mandalorian helmet, and only one Mandalorian from a cell may be seen on the surface at once in the proximity of the base. Those latest additions have only been established after the Night of 1,000 Tears, where the Galactic Empire destroyed Mandalore and attempted to extinguish all Mandalorians. These new rules, however, are only followed and obeyed by members of Deathwatch who wish to hide the fact that many Mandalorians survived the purge by the Empire in order to regain their former strength. Other factions such as Bo-Katans don't follow these new rules, as we have seen, and they are as such not to be considered the norm for every Mandalorian. Lastly, the Super Commando Codex. The Super Commando Codex is a guideline for Mandalorian behavior created by the Mandalorian Chester Merrill upon his ascension to the world of Mandalore in 16 BBY. Merrill found that many Mandalorians of his era had become dissatisfied with the dishonorable and overly savage ways that had become prevalent among a number of the culture's warriors. As such, Merrill chose to become a reformist, wishing to restore honor to the clans and reinstitute the old warrior codes that had been largely forgotten over the time. To that end, Merrill revived and modernized the ancient Canons of Honor that the Mandalorian Crusaders and Neo-Crusaders had followed, creating a series of several hundred commandments governing moral Mandalorian behavior, which he entitled the Super Commando Codex. The Codex, like the Canons of Honor before it, drew heavily from the resol'nare. One of the biggest aspects of the Codex is that any Mandalorian who wished to fight would no longer engage in the shameful activities of raiders and brigands. Instead, Mandalorian warriors were to conduct themselves as highly paid soldiers and honorable mercenaries and/or bounty hunters. Chester Merrill's reforms were not unanimously approved of, however, and not all Mandalorians agreed to abide by the Super Commando Codex. The pacifistic New Mandalorians rejected violence and even Merrill's reformist warrior codes, while a number of Mandalorian radicals band together under Tor Whistler to form the Deathwatch, a splinter group in violent opposition of the Codex and the changes Merrill sought to instill. Civil war broke out between the Deathwatch and an army of super commandos loyal to Merrill known as the True Mandalorians. Eventually, the True Mandalorians were wiped out by Deathwatch. However, long after Merrill and his True Mandalorians fell, the tenets of the Super Commando Codex lived on in Mandalorian society. As such, the Mandalorian Creed consists of the resol'nare as the basis and has seen other additional rules or extensions throughout Mandalorian history through the Canons of Honor and the Super Commando Codex. Also, strength, honor, and loyalty to the culture are basically the key elements of all those combined. And with that, return jamais.